Let's be honest, everyone wants the life that looks perfect from the outside. The dream car, the mansion, the freedom, the respect. Everyone wants to have it all, but very few ever stop to ask themselves what having it all truly means. You see, most people are chasing the illusion of success, not the essence of it. They think it's about luck, timing, or being born into the right circumstances. But here's the truth that most can't handle: having it all isn't a matter of chance. It's a matter of choice. It's about how you choose to think, how you choose to act, and how you choose to show up every single day of your life. When you look at the men who have built empires, who command respect, who move through the world with confidence and control, it's not because someone handed them a map to success. It's because they decided to take responsibility. That's where it begins. The truth about having it all is that it starts when you stop waiting for someone else to give it to you. The world owes you nothing. No one is coming to save you. And until you truly accept that you'll never build the life you desire, most people think they're trying. They say, "I'm working hard." They say, "I'm doing my best." But deep down, they know they're lying to themselves. They know they're wasting hours scrolling, doubting, comparing, hesitating. They know they're capable of more, but they're too afraid to demand it from themselves. That's the difference between those who have it all and those who never will. Accountability. The real winners hold themselves to a higher standard. They look in the mirror and say, "If I'm not where I want to be, it's because of me." No excuses, no blaming, just ownership. Having it all isn't about perfection, it's about alignment. It's when your mindset, actions, and values are moving in the same direction. Most people live in chaos because their mind wants success, but their actions chase comfort. Their mouth says, "I want more," but their habits say, "I'm fine settling." You can't build a life of greatness while living like everyone else. You can't expect elite results with average effort. The moment you align what you think with what you do, that's when the shift happens. That's when momentum begins to build, and success stops feeling like a dream and starts looking like reality. You have to understand something powerful. Having it all doesn't mean having everything. It means having what matters most to you. It means building a life that feels like your own. Not what social media tells you to want, not what your parents expect, not what your friends chase. When you strip away all the noise, all the validation, all the comparisons, what's left is the truth. What do you actually want? Who do you actually want to become? That's where your version of having it all begins. With brutal honesty. The man who has it all isn't special. He's not born different. He's simply a man who refused to accept average. He didn't have more time, more luck, or more help. He just had more drive. He woke up one day and said, "I'm done living a life that doesn't reflect my potential." That's the real secret. Not motivation, not talent, not luck, just the decision to demand more from yourself. And when you make that decision, everything changes. You start moving differently. You stop wasting time. You stop caring about opinions. You start protecting your energy, your focus, your purpose. You start to realize that discipline isn't a prison, it's freedom. Because when you're in control of yourself, no one can control you. When you build yourself from the ground up, when you earn every inch of your progress, that's when you truly have it all. But it all starts with one simple shift: taking full ownership of your life. The day you stop blaming the world and start building yourself, that's the day your life begins to change. No one will believe in you until you believe in yourself. No one will invest in you until you invest in yourself. Having it all isn't about what's possible, it's about what you're willing to do to make it real. There's a moment every man faces, that silent realization that no one's coming. No one's gonna rescue you from the life you hate. No one's gonna hand you success. No one's going to fix your problems. And that moment, when it hits you, can either break you or build you. Because the truth is raw, but it's liberating. You are your own savior. You are your own rescue plan. The world doesn't care about your excuses, your pain, or your dreams until you start putting in the effort to prove they matter. You can have all the potential in the world, but potential means nothing without action. The gap between who you are and who you want to be is filled with effort, not talk, not intention, but daily, disciplined, relentless effort. That's the part most people avoid. They love the idea of success, but they despise the process. They want the reward without the grind, the respect without the work, the freedom without the fight. But that's not how life works. Everything you want is earned through effort, and every day you waste waiting for someone else to do it for you, you fall further behind. You see, people are addicted to waiting. They wait for the right time, the right opportunity, the right motivation, the right connection. But those things don't come to the man who waits. They come to the man who moves. The one who gets up when it's hard, who shows up when it's uncomfortable, who keeps pushing when no one is watching. That's what defines a winner effort when it's inconvenient. Because anyone can work when they feel good. Anyone can grind when the sun is shining. But the man who puts in effort when he's tired, broken, doubted, and alone, that's the man who rises. There's this lie people love to believe that success is about talent. But the truth, effort outworks talent every single day of the week. You can be born with all the natural gifts in the world, but if you don't apply yourself, it means nothing. And on the flip side, you can start with nothing, no connections, no advantages, no support, and still climb to the top if you're willing to outwork everyone else. Because effort doesn't require privilege, it doesn't require luck, it only requires decision. The decision to say, I will not be ordinary. When you really understand that nobody's coming to save you, something inside you switches on. You stop complaining. You stop waiting for permission. You start moving differently. You start taking control of your habits, your discipline, your time. You realize that every second spent feeling sorry for yourself is a second you could have used to change your life. You realize that nobody cares how hard it is, only you can decide whether you rise or fall. That's the power of effort. It gives you back control. Most people have never even tested their limits. They don't know what they're capable of because they've never gone all in. They've never given 100% day after day for months or years. They quit too early. They stop just before the breakthrough. But if you want to have it all, you have to be willing to outlast everyone who isn't serious. You have to keep swinging when everyone else is tired. You have to stay consistent long after the excitement fades. That's how effort compounds small, unglamorous, consistent action that builds unstoppable momentum. And when you start living like that, when you stop waiting for miracles and start becoming your own miracle, something amazing happens. People start noticing. Opportunities start finding you, not because you're lucky, but because you've built the strength, skill, and discipline to handle them. Effort attracts results like gravity. When you move with intention, when you act with purpose, the world starts opening doors you didn't even know existed. So understand this: no one is coming to give you the life you want. You are the only one who can make it real. Every day, you're given a choice: stay the same or put in the work. And that choice, repeated 1,000 times, is what builds empires, confidence, and freedom. The men who win are not the ones who had it easy. They're the ones who kept trying when everyone else stopped. Because in the end, your life will always reflect your effort. Most people never fail because they never try. They live their entire lives standing on the edge, staring at possibility, convincing themselves that someday they'll jump, but that day never comes. They sit in comfort, wrapped in excuses, paralyzed by fear. Fear of rejection, fear of judgment, fear of not being enough. And slowly, without realizing it, they trade their potential for safety. They choose the familiar pain of mediocrity over the temporary discomfort of growth. That's the greatest trap, not failure. But comfort fear is not your enemy, it's your compass. It points exactly where you need to go. The things you fear most are often the very things that will transform you. But instead of walking toward that fear, most people run from it. They hide behind distractions. They tell themselves stories like, I'll start when I'm ready, or it's not the right time. The truth is, they're scared to see who they really are when they give everything they've got. Because trying means exposing yourself. It means facing the possibility that you might not be good enough yet. And that's what most people can't handle. But here's the thing: nobody starts as the best. Every master was once a beginner. Every champion once looked in the mirror and thought, can I really do this? The difference between those who win and those who fade is that the winners tried anyway. They acted in spite of fear. They moved before they felt ready. They understood that courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the decision to keep going even when you're terrified. Because what's worse than trying and failing? Regretting that you never tried at all. Comfort feels good right now, but it costs you everything later. Comfort tells you it's okay to rest when you haven't earned it. Comfort tells you that staying the same is safer than growing. Comfort whispers you have time, but time is the one thing you don't control. Every second you waste avoiding discomfort is a second you'll never get back. The man who stays comfortable today will look back years from now and realize he built nothing but regrets. Because the world doesn't reward comfort, it rewards courage. You see, fear is a signal that you're stepping into new territory. It's proof that you're growing. When you feel fear, it means you're breaking the pattern. It means you're daring to do something most people never will. And that's exactly why you must move toward it. Because the life you want, the respect, the confidence, the success lives on the other side of fear. The reason most men never find it is simple. They stop at the border. They reach the edge of their comfort zone, feel the resistance, and retreat. They choose to stay safe instead of discovering their power. But if you can learn to walk into that fear, to step into the unknown with purpose, you'll realize something incredible. It's never as bad as you imagined. The moment you take that first step, the fear begins to shrink. The mind that once screamed, "You can't," starts to whisper, "Maybe you can." And as you keep moving, that whisper turns into belief. Because confidence isn't built by thinking, it's built by doing. Trying is not weakness, it's strength. It's proof that you believe in yourself enough to risk failing. And even when you do fail, you grow stronger. You learn faster. You get sharper. Failure doesn't define you, quitting does. Fear doesn't destroy you, surrender does. Every time you face fear head on, it loses its power over you. Every time you choose effort over comfort, you build resilience. And resilience is the foundation of greatness. So look around at your life right now. Where are you hiding behind comfort? What dreams are you suffocating because you're scared of starting? What potential are you wasting because you keep waiting for the perfect moment? There is no perfect moment, there's only now. The man who acts today wins tomorrow. The man who hides behind excuses will still be waiting 5 years from now, wondering what could have been. You have to understand comfort is the silent killer of ambition. It doesn't destroy you in one moment, it eats away at you slowly. It makes you soft, it makes you settle. It convinces you that mediocrity is acceptable. But deep down, you know it's not. You feel it every time you see someone else win, every time you catch yourself saying, "I wish that were me." That's not envy. That's your potential reminding you that you were meant for more. The question is, will you listen to it? Will you stop letting fear control your story and start writing it yourself? Because the only way to conquer fear is simple. Try. Try when you don't feel ready. Try when you're uncertain. Try when your hands shake. Try when everyone doubts you. Because trying, even when you're scared, is the first step toward becoming the man you were meant to be. Every man wants success, but very few are willing to become obsessed with it. And that's the difference. The truth is, greatness doesn't come to the man who tries sometimes or works when he feels like it. It comes to the one who thinks about it, breathes it, dreams it, and lives it. The one who wakes up with fire in his chest and goes to bed with unfinished work still on his mind. The man who's willing to lose sleep, skip comfort, and sacrifice distractions just to get one step closer to his vision. Because in this world, you don't get what you want, you get what you're obsessed enough to chase. Relentlessly obsession isn't madness, it's focus. It's locking in so deeply on your mission that nothing else can break your concentration. Most people call it extreme because they've never experienced true purpose. They spend their lives chasing pleasure, chasing entertainment, chasing moments of escape. But the obsessed man chases mastery. While others are scrolling, he's studying. While others are sleeping, he's grinding. While others are talking about their goals, he's already on his second round of work. That's the mindset that builds empires, not balance, not luck. But obsession, the average man fears obsession because he's afraid of losing himself in the process. But here's the truth: you should lose yourself. Lose the weak version. Lose the lazy habits. Lose the endless distractions that keep you ordinary. When you let your obsession take over, you burn away everything that doesn't serve your mission. You evolve. You sharpen. You become the version of yourself that no longer negotiates with weakness. That's not losing yourself. That's finding who you really are. Every great story, every legend, every man who changed his life started with a spark of obsession. They weren't the smartest, the richest, or the most connected, but they had hunger. They had that unshakable drive that kept them moving when everyone else quit. They refused to settle for average. And because of that, they created opportunities where none existed. That's the secret most people miss. Opportunity doesn't knock. You build the door yourself, brick by brick, with relentless obsession. You can't halfway want something and expect to win. You can't say you want success, but still act like everyone else. You can't expect your life to change if you're still living with average habits, average energy, average effort. The universe doesn't reward maybe, it rewards must. When you decide that success is no longer an option but a requirement, when it becomes oxygen, that's when things start to shift. You start to see chances that others ignore. You start to attract people and possibilities that align with your mission. Because energy recognizes energy, obsession recognizes obsession, and the best part, obsession turns hard work into instinct. When you're obsessed, discipline becomes automatic. You stop asking, do I feel like it? You just do it. You move on autopilot because your mission is all that matters. That's when growth becomes unstoppable. When you've burned the bridges behind you and there's no going back, the only direction left is a forward. That's how you build momentum through ruthless consistency. Driven by obsession, people will call you crazy for caring too much. They'll say you're obsessed, that you need to relax. But that's what the comfortable say to justify their own mediocrity. The ones who told you to slow down will one day ask how you did it. They'll pretend they believed in you from the start, but you'll know the truth: you believed in yourself when no one else did. That's what obsession gives you: clarity in the noise, purpose in the pain, and progress when others are paralyzed. Obsession also reveals who's serious and who's pretending. Everyone wants results, but only the obsessed are willing to bleed for them. Only the obsessed will push through exhaustion, failure, and doubt just to prove to themselves that they can. And the reward, it's not just success, it's transformation. Because when you become obsessed with your mission, your whole identity changes. You stop being the man who hopes and become the man who hunts. You stop waiting and start creating. You stop dreaming and start doing. This world respects obsession. Every innovation, every empire, every victory born from it. The men who rise to the top aren't the ones with the best luck. They're the ones who refuse to stop. They were willing to give everything, to endure everything, because they saw something others couldn't see: their own potential. And they didn't just believe it. They proved it through action, through repetition, through years of unwavering effort. You can't fake obsession. It shows, it radiates. It consumes you in the best way possible. It's the reason people remember your name when others are forgotten. It's the energy that turns invisible dreams into visible results. Because obsession doesn't just create opportunity, it forces it to exist. Everyone says they want it all: the freedom, the power, the lifestyle, the respect. But very few ever sit down and ask the real question: what's the price? Because nothing in this world is free. Every ounce of success, every piece of progress, every dream turned into reality comes with a cost. And the truth that most people can't face is this: the higher the goal, the heavier the sacrifice. You want to rise above the average, then you can't live like the average. You can't have elite rewards with lazy routines. You can't chase greatness while clinging to comfort. Having it all means paying the price that most people refuse to pay. Sacrifice isn't punishment. It's the trade you make for becoming someone more powerful. When you give something up, you're not losing, you're investing. Every late night, every early morning, every time you skip the party, every time you say no to distraction, you're building equity in your future. You're putting down payments on your success. But most people don't see it that way. They think sacrifice means missing out. They think discipline means restriction. They think hard work means suffering. But that's because they don't understand what's on the other side. The other side of sacrifice is freedom. The other side of discomfort is control. You can't buy that kind of power, you earn it through every sacrifice you make. You have to decide what matters more: your comfort now or your greatness later. You can't have both. The man who tries to keep both ends up with neither. Comfort gives you nothing lasting. It gives you a momentary high and a lifetime of regret. But sacrifice, discipline, standards, they give you everything. They give you strength, clarity, pride, and self-respect. Because deep down, you know you're not like the rest. You know you're building something real. You know you're paying the price now, so you never have to pay it later. Every man who has achieved something extraordinary has gone through seasons of sacrifice. They've lost friends, they've lost sleep, they've lost peace, but they've gained something far greater. The man they were meant to become. The question is, are you willing to do the same? Because the truth is simple: if you want more, you have to demand more from yourself. You have to raise your standards until they scare you. You have to expect excellence from yourself even when no one's watching. You have to hold yourself accountable to a code that no one else even understands. Standards define you. They separate the strong from the weak, the focused from the distracted, the committed from the complainers. Your standards decide how far you'll go. If your standards are low, you'll accept excuses, shortcuts, and mediocrity. If your standards are high, you'll only accept progress, purpose, and victory. You'll start making decisions that reflect the man you want to be, not the man you've been. You'll stop chasing comfort and start chasing challenge, because you'll know that challenge builds you. You'll stop seeking validation and start seeking growth. Because growth is what real men crave. Having it all isn't about luck or talent. It's about consistency with your standards. It's about waking up every day and doing what needs to be done. Not because you feel like it, but because it's required. It's about sacrificing temporary pleasure for permanent pride. It's about saying, I could relax, but I won't. I could give up, but I don't. I could settle, but I refuse. That mindset separates the winners from the watchers. And let's be clear, sacrifice isn't always glamorous. It's lonely. It's exhausting. It's full of moments where you'll question everything. But that's where your character is forged. That's where you find out who you really are. When you keep pushing through the storm, when you refuse to quit despite the pain, that's when you become unstoppable. Because once you've paid the price, once you've proven to yourself that you're willing to give everything, life starts giving back. People often look at successful men and say, he's lucky. No, he's not lucky. He's paid the price you weren't willing to pay. He's endured the pain you avoided. He's done the work you skipped. Every advantage you think he has, he built it with blood, sweat, and discipline. And that's what separates him from everyone else. The ones who want it all but never sacrifice are the ones who live in constant frustration. They want the result without the struggle. But life doesn't work like that. You want to have it all. Then you have to give your all. You have to give your time, your energy, your comfort, and sometimes even your peace of mind. You have to hold yourself to a higher standard than anyone expects from you. Because once you commit to those standards, once you start living by them, no matter what, you'll see the world bend to your will. You'll see opportunities appear where there were none. You'll see respect follow your name without you ever asking for it. Because sacrifice builds strength, and strength builds everything else. There's a kind of man the world can't break. He's not the richest, not the strongest, not even the smartest, but he's the one who refuses to stop trying. When life knocks him down, he gets up. When things get hard, he pushes harder. When everyone else quits, he takes another step forward. That's the man who wins. That's the man who gets everything he wants. Because life doesn't reward perfection, it rewards persistence. It rewards the man who keeps trying no matter how many times he fails. You see, most people only try until it hurts. They give effort until they feel discomfort, then they fold. They expect the path to success to be smooth, predictable, and fair. But it never is. Success is a battlefield, not a playground. You don't walk through it, you fight through it. And the only way to survive is to keep moving, even when you're bruised, even when you're exhausted, even when you're doubted by everyone, including yourself. The man who keeps trying has one advantage that no one can take from him: momentum. Even if he moves slow, he's still moving forward while others stand still. The truth is, trying isn't something you do once, it's something you become. It's not about a single action, it's about an identity. When trying becomes who you are, failure doesn't matter anymore. You stop fearing it. You stop being defined by it, because you know that no loss can stop a man who refuses to quit. Every setback becomes feedback. Every obstacle becomes an opportunity to grow. You stop looking for easy wins and start embracing the grind that shapes you into something unstoppable. The reason most people never build the life they want is because they treat effort like a temporary phase. They work hard for a week, a month, maybe a year, and when results don't come fast enough, they walk away. But that's not how greatness works. Greatness demands years of unseen effort, consistency when nobody's watching, and faith when nothing seems to be working. The man who keeps trying even when he has every reason to stop, that's the man the universe eventually rewards. Because life tests you before it blesses you. It wants to see if you're serious. Trying means you face your weaknesses head on. It means you confront the voice in your head that whispers, "You're not good enough." It means you challenge that voice every single day until it breaks. And with every repetition, every failure, every small victory, you grow stronger. You build endurance. You build a kind of inner strength that can't be faked. Because when you've fallen 100 times and still stand up again, fear loses its grip on you. You stop worrying about what might go wrong because you've already been through worse and you're still here. Most people spend their lives talking about what they could do, what they might do, or what they would do if things were different. But the man who keeps trying doesn't need to talk. His actions speak for him. He doesn't chase motivation, he creates it. He doesn't wait for confidence, he earns it. Every time he tries and survives, his self-belief multiplies. Because confidence isn't built by success, it's built by survival. It's built by looking back and realizing that no matter how bad it got, you didn't quit. There's a powerful shift that happens when you stop seeing trying as optional and start seeing it as necessary. You stop asking, how long will it take? And start saying, as long as it takes. That's when you become dangerous. That's when the world starts to notice you. Because consistency is rare. Determination is rare. People are used to seeing others give up, but when they see someone who won't, who keeps coming back, no matter how many times life hits him, they have no choice but to respect him. That kind of man inspires others without even trying to, and that's the beauty of it. The man who never stops trying doesn't just build success, he builds legacy. He becomes proof that perseverance works. He becomes living evidence that effort always finds its reward, even if it takes years. The man who keeps trying becomes unshakable because he's learned that pain is temporary, but regret lasts forever. He's learned that the journey isn't supposed to be easy. It's supposed to test him, shape him, and prepare him for what's next. Every time you try again, you're rewriting your story. You're proving that you're still in control. It doesn't matter how many times you've fallen, how many times you've failed, or how many people have told you to give up. As long as you're still trying, you're still in the game. Because the man who never stops trying eventually becomes unstoppable. He becomes a force the world has to reckon with. He doesn't rely on luck or timing. He relies on himself, his work, his discipline, his persistence. That's what makes him different. That's what makes him powerful. That's what makes him the man who, in the end, truly has it all. At the end of the day, life doesn't owe you anything. It doesn't hand out rewards for wishes or dreams. It hands them out for effort, for persistence, for resilience. You've heard throughout this journey that trying, truly trying, is what separates the average from the exceptional. And that's the truth. You can have it all. You can build the body, the business, the confidence, the relationships, the freedom, but only if you're willing to keep trying when everyone else has given up. Because the moment you stop trying, the moment you let failure define you, the game ends. But if you keep going, if you keep pushing even when you're tired, even when you doubt yourself, something incredible happens. The world starts to bend to your will. Opportunities that seemed impossible start to appear. The people who once ignored you begin to notice. And the version of you that once seemed out of reach begins to emerge. You realize that the gap between who you are and who you want to be is built entirely on effort. Effort you control every single day. Trying isn't about perfection. It's not about never failing. It's about refusing to accept defeat. It's about waking up every morning with a purpose, knowing that no matter how hard it gets, you will give everything you have. Because that mindset, that fire is what creates champions. It's what builds leaders. It's what transforms ordinary people into legends. The difference between the man who has it all and the man who has nothing isn't luck or fate. It's consistency. It's the decision to never stop trying. You have to understand your life will only change when you do. Not when you talk about it. Not when you dream about it. When you try. When you commit yourself fully to the process. When you put in the hours, the discipline, the focus, the sacrifice. That's when things start to shift. That's when you earn the right to have it all. The dream isn't some fantasy floating in the distance. It's a destination built on the foundation of effort. One step, one rep, one day at a time, and maybe the most powerful truth of all, you already have everything you need to begin. You have your will, your time, your energy, your choice. The only question left is, will you use them? Will you be the one who keeps trying when everyone else gives up? Will you be the one who proves that it's possible to have it all? Because you can. You always could. You just have to try and never stop trying.